Today we are going to learn how to graph a line when given its linear equation. The method I'm teaching you today only works when we're given a line in the form y equals mx plus b. The reason why is if y isn't alone, then you can't identify the slope and y-intercept just by looking at the equation. So you would have to change the equation or use a different method for graphing it. First thing that we're going to do when given the equation is we're going to identify the slope and y-intercept. Remember that the slope is the m in y equals mx plus b, and the y-intercept is the b in y equals mx plus b. So let's go ahead and look at our equation. It's in the form y equals mx plus b. So my m, or my slope, is -2, and my b, or my y-intercept, is 4. Okay, so I did that part. I haven't actually graphed anything yet, but I'm feeling pretty good. The second step that you should do is you should plot or graph your y-intercept. And it's going to be at the point 0b. Or you can just think count b on the y-axis. The reason why we don't graph the slope first is because you could draw the slope basically anywhere, and you wouldn't be able to guarantee that it goes through that y-intercept. So we make sure we include the y-intercept by plotting it first. I'm going to go on my y-axis, and my y-intercept is 4, so I'm going to count up. 1, 2, 3, 4. My y-axis, remember, goes up and down, and my x-axis goes left and right. So there's my y-intercept. Second step, done. Now this third step is going to be a little tougher. You're going to make your slope into a fraction, if it's not already, and use the fraction that slope is, which is change in y over change in x, or you can also think of it as rise over run, to count and plot the next 3 points. So you should have 4 points in total. Okay, let's go ahead and show you how to do that. When I go to my slope, it's -2. Well, I know my slope is rise over run, or change in y over change in x, and I don't know if my -2 should go on the bottom or on the top or what. So I'm going to make it into a fraction, and you can make any integer into a fraction by putting it over 1. So we're going to say that our change in y, or our rise, is -2, and our change in x, or our run, is 1. So let's go ahead. I'm going to count down 2 because that's the negative direction, and then right 1. So -2 over 1, and then that will be my next point. So you don't have to draw the little L shape. You can just count out the points. Okay, so we're going to go down to right 1, and then down to right 1. So once you have figured out your slope, it is actually pretty easy to graph those points. Just make sure you count correctly. Okay, last, we need to make sure this is a line, not just a collection of points. So we're going to connect the points into a line. With arrows. Okay, let's go over here. And it would be easier if I had a ruler that I could use on my iPad, but so if you have a ruler or like a straight edge that you can use, you can connect the dots. And the arrows are really important because that indicates that this line goes forever in both directions. I could choose x equals 50, and I'd still be able to find a y that works in that equation. And that's how you do it. So let's go ahead and do these 2 examples. First, on this one, I'm going to identify my slope and y-intercept. And what's hard about this is that there's only one number. So let's see what we figure out here. My slope is the number next to the x. So slope is the one that's 3/4. My y-intercept, there isn't one. Or it seems like there isn't one. But remember that you can add 0 to this expression and it won't change it at all. So the number being added is 0. Now let's go ahead and plot our y-intercept. It's at 0, 0. Well, that was easy. Then we're going to plot our slope. This slope is change in y over change in x, or rise over run. So I'm going to go a positive 3 for my rise. So I'm going to go up 3. And then right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So you can just plot the dots. I'm going to go up 3 and right 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it looks like I've run out of room, so you can change this fraction. Any fraction will work as long as at the end it simplifies to 3/4. So I'm just going to add a negative on top and bottom. I'm going to say -3 over -4. And a negative divided by a negative is a positive, so that will work out to be positive 3/4. So -3 over -4 means I'm going down 3 and left 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you look, that is still in the straight line. I'm going to do it again. This is kind of addicting for me. I find it soothing to just count out points. Okay, then connect all your points into a line. That one didn't come out very straight. Let's try it again. Okay, whew. Well, we tried. It's pretty straight, but there are some wiggly parts. Okay, so that's how you do that type, is if it doesn't have a b after it, the b or the y-intercept is just 0. Let's look at this one. Okay, my slope, I don't really see a number in front of the x, but remember, if there's no number in front of the x, we assume that it's a 1. So this slope is going to be -1. And my y-intercept, now the format was y equals mx plus b. And I have minus, so I can't just write 1. That doesn't work out. But I could rewrite subtraction as adding a negative, so our b is going to be -1. Now let's plot our y-intercept. It should be down 1 from the origin. And then my slope is -1. I'm going to rewrite that fraction, so it'll be rise over run. And remember, we can just write it over 1, and that'll work out for us. So it'll be -1 over 1. Rise is down now, and then right. And then I'm just going to draw all my little down, right, down, right, down, right, down, right. Okay, let's fill in my points. Down, right. There's 1. Down, right. There's 1. Down, right. There's 1. Now, I drew 4 points. You could also use any fraction that simplifies to -1. So that would be a negative is somewhere in the equation. So you could put the negative on the bottom, and you just need to make sure that the top and bottom are both the same. So 5 over -5 would be one that simplifies to -1. And that would go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be a point there. And if you watch, when I graph my line, it's going to connect. Look at that. So you can actually use a lot of things for your slope fraction as long as they simplify to get the slope that you had at the end. There's one more example I'd like to show you. I only have 2 graphs here, so I'm just going to do it on this last one. What if there isn't an x? What if it's like y equals 6? Well, we could rewrite this guy. There's y equals, and we're just going to say it's an expression with x where it's like adding 0 to 6. 0 times x is 0, and 0 plus 6 is 6. So this is the same as having a slope of 0. So I could graph this the same way as I did before by going to my y-intercept as 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right there. And then graph a slope of 0. Now, I just know that a slope of 0 is going to be a flat line, so I just draw a flat line right there. All right. That's it for today. Good luck.